who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining us. You know, here at World of Wonder, one thing we believe is it's a world of wonder.
That's true.
Yeah, right?
It's a world of wonder.
Every week we bring you 10 things that made us go,
wow,
this week.
Yeah.
So I'm here with Tom Campbell, I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder. I'm here with Tom Campbell.
Soon-to-be co-founder.
And co-founder James St. James.
Hello.
And co-founder Blake.
Everyone's a
Hello,
co-founder.
co-founders.
Yay.
James, of course, is a literary sensation. Tom, of course, is creative director. Blake is our millennial producer.
Yeah.
So shall we just get straight to it?
Let's plunge into it.
All right. Tom, number 10.
Number 10.
All right, now, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with what's happening in Washington, but things are coming and going very fast.
The wheels are coming off the bus.
Dizzying. I
This
know
bus doesn't seem to need wheels.
I really feel like since the time I've sat down in this chair, someone's been fired, something has happened. Anyway, things come and go, and therefore memes, which are a big part of pop culture, come and go. So I want us to stop, to take a moment, and recognize the most important thing that's been said in this past week, and that is reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Now,
God bless her. I love her. I want her to be president. I love her. I love her. I love her.
you know, we do Resistor of the Week every week, and we're always like, let's just do Maxine every week. We kind of force ourselves not to. But she's number 10 this week because she is fierce every week. And you probably have heard this, so if I'm explaining to you, you know it, but I'm going to make us listen because I want this to sink. I don't want this to be one of those things that lasts a week, confefe or something. I want this to be like, I want there to be bridges named Reclaiming My Time. I want there just to be
Statues.
Yeah,
200 years from now, people will still be saying reclaiming my time.
And I want a Hall of Presidents thing in Disney with Maxine is going Reclaiming My Time. So let's start. Let's play the original. This is Maxine talking to Treasury Secretary Stephen Munich, who is totally being evasive. And listen to Maxine using the parliamentary procedure and being a powerful woman. Play.
Yes, I am.
Is there some reason why I did not get a response to the letter that I sent May 23rd?
So, Ranking Member Waters, first of all, let me thank you for your service to California. Being a resident of California,
The great Orange
I
State.
appreciate everything that
Thank
you've
you
done
very much.
for the community there.
I don't want to take my time.
I also have appreciated the opportunity to meet with
Reclaiming
you
my time.
several times
Reclaiming my
when
time.
we were doing our
Reclaiming my time.
The time belongs to the gentlelady from California.
So she sounds like a little bitchy, but she's not. She's totally following parliamentary
She wants an answer
procedure.
to the goddamn question.
And this is just the beginning. He evades. This is so typical.
Rambles on and on
Yes.
about absolutely nothing.
And totally plotted, right? Totally planned. Like, I'm just going to eat up the time saying nothing. So now, what I love about pop culture, and you have to be lickety-split these days, like, overnight they created, let's go to the dance mix. Adam Joseph, he has these amazing dance
he did the
mix.
Valentino one,
He
right?
did from RuPaul's Drag Race, where it's like, you look like Linda Evangelista. He did this. It's just a little riff of see how you can turn a C-SPAN into a hit on the dance floor.
Great.
Okay, let me just say that the Department of Treasury has cooperated extensive House
Reclaiming my
intel
time.
with the
Reclaiming my
Senate
time.
Judiciary.
Reclaiming
Got a
my
certain-
time.
Okay.
Wait.
Matter of fact. Okay.
Reclaiming
Matter of fact. Okay.
Reclaiming my time.
Okay.
Reclaiming my time.
Okay.
Matter of fact. Would you please explain the rules and
That's
do
where
not
death
take
drop.
that away from my time?
Boom. I think. Oh, this should be a lip sync song on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh!
I just figured it out.
Oh my God!
I just figured it
You have to
out.
embargo. We have to embargo that.
Yes. No, we will. We will.
That's,
And then
you see the creative process at work.
when we shoot Drag Race, and we do. So okay, there's that, and then there's one more, and this has got some traction too. This is a gentleman. His name is McCall Kilgore. I hope I said it the right way. And he made a gospel version of "Reclaiming My Time."
Reclaiming my time.
Feel it. Feel the spirit.
You want to speak on the battles I've won? I'm reclaiming my time. All right. That's not why I brought you here to share it. I'm reclaiming my time. Don't read my resume 'cause I was
It sounds like Maxine could be singing this.
She isn't? I thought it was the real deal.
I don't know. It speaks to what's going on today. I love Maxine Waters. You know, I'm afraid I haven't really checked in to see what the other side thinks of her. I'm sure they're disparaging her.
Well, because that's how Bill Riley lost his job. That was the beginning of the end when he started making fun of her wig and said it looked like James Brown's wig.
You're right.
And that was the beginning of the end of Bill because the Republicans started, bashing on her, and you don't bash on Auntie Maxine.
Auntie Maxine is like the Terminator.
Yeah.
And it's so easy, checking my own prejudice and my own sexism. It's so easy when you hear a woman interrupt a man to think like, why that bitch? Like, quiet down, lady, when it happens the other way.
Really? What
all
you think?
the time. No, I think I'm always listening. No, but I'm always listening.
The conversation is like that, right?
Yes.
The culture is like that.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm always listening with that ear. Like, what's the other side thinking? What are their memes about Maxine Waters? And I just think she's so powerful. She's so within her right, and she's following parliamentary procedure, and she's out there like so many of our Congress people trying to make a difference and save us from the insanity.
I really wonder if it is possible for her to run for president in 2020. I would maybe with Biden as vice president, or maybe with Kamala Harris,
the other way around,
or Cory Booker, or someone like that. I mean, she really does have quite a fanatical following.
I do love her.
Yeah,
you can watch. It's Michael, right? Michael Kagol's
probably.
Maxine Waters inspired at Reclaiming My Time on the Wow Report, and you can see all these stories, in fact, worldofwonder.net/radio Andy.
Yeah.
You can listen, and you can also watch on our YouTube channel, Wow Presents, as well, right?
Now I'm reclaiming my time.
James, number 9.
I saw that coming.
Number 9.
I watched 3 new TV shows this week.
3.
2 of which made me go wow, and one of them made me go wow.
Oh, is that the one you're going to talk about?
No. The first one is Charlene Harris's Midnight Texas.
Well, what is that?
Well,
I haven't heard of it.
Charlene Harris is the woman who wrote the True Blood novels.
Okay.
Okay. This is it's on NBC, and I feel bad for it because it was dumped in the middle of August, which means they don't really have much confidence
not promising.
in it. Yeah. Charlene. Like True Blood, this is sort of a supernatural series.
Okay.
It stars Francois Arnaud, who was in The Borgias. Did you watch The Borgias?
I didn't.
No.
But there were hot people in it, right?
Yes. And this man is so handsome that it hurts to look at him. Is this a joke you guys have every week? You guys looked at each other.
It's always the gorgeous people with extraordinarily exotic names. And it's like
The name
Dunkirk,
gives them
and
away, yeah.
Place of a Thousand Planet, Valerian.
Well, no.
Anywho.
And I've said it before. I've said that men were handsome before, but I never meant it until now. This man is so beautiful. Literally, it hurts to look at him. He's so hot, and he's distractingly handsome. He has this sort of vulpine look about him. This sort of like fox. Like he looks like just looks like he's an animal.
Does he have superpowers? Or?
Well, he's a medium, and he can pierce the veil between the living and the dead. And he's being chased by some people, and I sort of fuzzed out because I was busy looking at him. I don't really remember why he was being chased, but he has a dead grandmother that keeps coming to him, and she says, "Honey, why don't you go to Midnight Texas? They'll love you in Midnight Texas." So he packs up his RV and he drives to Midnight Texas, the small little town in Texas, the middle of nowhere, and it looks like one of those prop towns over, in
the Warner Brothers backlot.
Yeah, it looks like the Warner Brothers backlot, and it's immediately you see that it's filled with all these sort of spooky characters and creepy crawlies, and it feels it's very strange. Right off the bat, you see that there's a vampire there. There's a witch, and she has
so it feels like Dark Shadows. Is
Well,
it a sort of a...
exactly.
I've done it again.
You've done it again because first of all,
I'm gonna hide.
no, because I was saying that the special effects in this are just awful, and they are it's like Dark Shadows meets Buffy, but it makes Buffy look like a Michael Bay movie. It's just like it is so. There's like a ghost. There's a vampire.
Is the ghost wearing a sheet like
sort
like Casey Affleck?
Basically, yeah. There's an angel, a gay angel, played by Jason Lewis, who was a supermodel in the 1990s, and he was later on Sex and the City. He was a
Samantha's?
Yeah, he was Samantha's boyfriend who stuck with her through the cancer.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Is
he still beautiful?
He's still beautiful. He has this long mane of like leonine hair, and he's got these wings, and he flies around the town with his boyfriend, and it's sort of fascinating. Let me see.
So this is the one that made you go, wow.
It did make me
and you're kind of trashing a lot of it, but you're loving a lot of it.
But bad is good these days. We're definitely living in an inverted,
it's very campy, and in the special effects, like I said, they're so bad that it's like watching Scooby-Doo or something like that.
Why we all try and make things so good?
Why waste the time and the money on good special effects?
It's true. No, like literally, like there's this woman who was murdered, and she was shot and like left in the river, and she keeps appearing at his house, and she's trying to talk to him, and she's like spewing up water. She can't quite get words out because she's still drowning after in the afterlife. And so the whole thing is trying to piece together what happened with this murder, and he's trying to get her to talk without like she's just anyway. It's special. Like I said, it's just good.
It's good.
It's good. Yeah.
All right. Are you hooked? Are you in?
I am. I'm hooked. There's been 2 episodes so far.
Okay.
And I'm really enjoying it.
2 episodes is a commitment nowadays.
It is.
Seriously.
Midnight Texas on Mondays, 10, 9 Central on NBC, or anytime, of course, on NBC.com.
Bing, bing.
Number 8.
You guys, for number 8, I did a Kickstarter this week.
You did?
It's for a thing called gravity blankets. These are weighted blankets. They come in 3 sizes. Well, actually, I should say 3 weights. 15 pounds, 20 pounds, and 25 pounds. It is a blanket that weighs things.
Just what I need is 25 more pounds.
Well, actually, we do. Because the thing is, the whole point... Okay, you've had x-rays, right?
Yes.
And they put that lead blanket on.
Yes.
Doesn't it feel nice?
It does.
Yes. That's the concept of the gravity blanket. It's like being hugged. And the medical...
Or swaddled.
Babies are swaddled, and adults should snuggle under gravity blankets. And the whole concept is that this medically is proven to reduce stress, to increase serotonin levels, melatonin levels, decrease cortisol levels. And the whole concept is supposed to be around 10% of your body weight. And that the gravity, the weight of it, helps relax the nervous system by simulating the feeling of being held or hugged. Come on. Yes. Oh, Tom, you can't always be there for me when I go to bed. Hug me.
I would be if you let me, Fenton.
No.
Well, if Billy would let me. I'd be right there.
But no, if like Elliot were to use it, would it sort of squash him and keep him from getting up in the middle of the night?
This is not for babies.
Oh,
and babies are swaddled. So it's for adults, and someone said, a user said, it's like an Advil PM for your whole body.
Oh. I like that. Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said you did a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That means you're raising money for this, or you gave money to it?
No, they set out to raise $21,000.
Okay, so you're an investor, so to speak.
Yes, to put the gravity blanket in.
And you gave $20,000.
$21,000 they set out to raise. Do you know how much they've raised?
$8.
$4.7 million.
What?
Everybody needs this guy. I think it's struck a chord with people.
Wait a minute. They wanted $20,000 and they've gotten $4 million?
$4.7 million. Almost
what are they going to do with all
million.
that money?
Let's think of something.
It's Kickstarter. You buy the blanket, and I bought I'm worried actually because I bought a 15-pound blanket, and I think I should have bought the 20-pound blanket.
Sure.
It's high-density plastic poly pellets, which are apparently environmentally friendly.
This sounds like a lot of
Plastic
gobbledygook.
poly doesn't sound
You're
environmentally.
not buying it, James? You're not buying?
Well, it sounds like fake news
It
science.
feels a little.
Fuck you,
It feels
fake
a
news.
little goopy.
Yeah.
14 million people suffer from stress and anxiety.
I do.
Yeah, I know.
70% of people have problems sleeping.
I do.
And people say they put this thing on and out like a light. I'm going to try. I'm very excited. I cannot wait. It's coming in October, according to the Kickstarter, because I guess they made their funding goal.
Now we say this, we have to follow up. You have to do this. We have to
Right.
videotape you
I
doing
should have
it.
bought
Maybe
3.
we should have a special wow report
in Fenton's
where
bedroom.
we're whispering. Fenton seems to be out like a little baby.
I wish I thought of this idea. Shit. I mean,
And
21,000, you raised 4.7 million. I'd be like, see ya.
You've struck a chord, obviously. Yes.
Feels like something easy to rip off.
Like you think it could be the new Snuggie.
The wow blanket.
Okay, so you can get your own gravity blanket. I can see I've convinced you. I guess you don't like being hugged in your sleep.
No, I don't like being hugged, period.
Oh, well, the gravity blanket is not for you.
No. But I do like the feeling when you're at the dentist and they put the big heavy thing on you. I do enjoy that.
It's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For you, it would be better if you just had a statement jewelry, a statement necklace. Maybe that's the weight you need.
Yeah.
That's his gravity blanket. Exactly. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break.
Yes.
Question today is, and it's not related to anything we've been talking about.
Oh, clever.
But something we might be talking about.
Okay.
How's that for a change?
Wow.
How many times have the Olympics been held in the United States of America?
I think I know.
All right, you're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM, and we'll have the answer right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Hey, welcome back to the Wow Report. We're counting down as ever the top 10 things that made us go
Wow
this week. And we've reached... Oh, well, no, we haven't reached number 7.
we
Well,
haven't.
we have reached number 7, but first I've got to give you the answer to the question.
Yes.
How many times... Yeah?
Oh, no.
No, interrupt. No. How many times have the Olympics been held in the USA?
Well, I'm going to say there was L.A.,
Right.
Atlanta.
In 80...
Oh, that's
right.
good.
There was Salt Lake City, but was that
Winter Olympics,
Oh,
right?
winter.
Yeah,
There was
that
Lake
counts,
Placid.
yes.
Lake Placid.
Okay,
There was
4.
L.A. in the 30s.
L.A. in the third.
5.
Okay.
So let's add 2 more. No, let's keep it at 5.
I'm going to go with 6, because I actually don't know the answer to the question.
I'm going to say 6 too.
I'm going to say 5.
Okay.
Well, with the 2028 Olympics in LA,
Can't do that
Can't do
because
that?
the world might end this week.
well, then there's been 8.
Oh.
Oh,
Do you have the list?
There's been 4 Winter Olympics. The
Okay.
last one was in Salt Lake, and
Yeah.
then there's been 4 Summer Olympics.
All right.
The last one in
Oh.
Atlanta.
Well,
That's
a segue if I've ever heard one.
Oh, do tell.
Number 7.
At number 7, it was announced this week officially that the 2028 Olympics are coming to Los Angeles. Oh. Now, I am on record as saying when I was a kid growing up in New Hampshire, the Olympics were so important. They were, we had 3 channels. When the Olympics were on, everyone watched them. They all became stars, whether it was Bruce Jenner or Nadia Comaneci, you'd get totally caught up in it. And I've gotten a little jaded, and I've talked about how the coverage, NBC especially, it seems so like cancer stories. It seems maudlin, but I am so excited about the 2028 Olympics because it brings me back to my first summer ever, 1984 in LA.
Oh, you were here then?
It transformed
Oh, my God.
the city. It was my first summer. I was 21. I was here with my first lover, Tom Perry, who was 12 years older than me. My parents thought he was just a mentor. He was my lover. I was living a lie.
Did
And
they ever come visit?
no. And you know how we certain lies we keep alive. But 84 Olympics were amazing because they were the first. Up until that point, the Olympics they'd canceled the Russian
Yes.
Olympics in 1980. There was terrorism at the Munich Olympics
They
in the
were
70s.
failing. The Olympics were failing. It was a feeling that they just consume
Yes.
vast resources.
Yes.
They don't pay for themselves. No one cares. It was a
And in 84, and supposedly the deal they've made for 2028 is also very strong, and the city will be strong. But one of the things in 84 is they decided to not build any new structures. And it was, and this is why I think of you, is like, it was a design masterpiece. They came up with this color palette, and it was a design company. Jardé Partnership and Sussman and Presja.
Jardé. Oh my God, John Jardé. He's the guy who redesigned Times Square with all the billboards and signs.
Oh, ew.
He built Universal City Walk.
Yes.
He
Yes.
is the mastermind of the entertainment architecture.
Because they decided in 84, and they're going to follow this pattern for 2028, that they weren't going to, you know how they built all these things in Brazil and now no one's,
Yeah,
and
they're
they
always
fall apart.
abandoned. They get torn down the next day.
So this is, they just use all the resources in LA, the Coliseum, UCLA, Malibu, and like some of the events were 100 miles apart. So how did they unify them?
Right.
With this design, which were pavilions and poles, all in this classic now 80s palette of seafoam green and pink,
Right.
and those sort of I don't know, tropical kind of colors.
It looks a little Memphis-y. I mean, that's not
Yes,
to
it
knock
does.
it. It
No,
just
it does.
it sort of feels slightly retro. It's a
Yeah.
little Toyland, right?
Yes.
These sort of geometric shapes, bold colors.
I was thinking to myself Santa's Village or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
But if you think about, I mean, my first job was at the Hollywood Bowl because there was a huge arts
You're
festival.
kidding.
There was
What did you do
there was a
at
huge. It was one night, but it was a huge light installation. It was the opening of the Olympic Art Festival. Like the city came alive, and they were so afraid. They had a bus system. We had no subway. There was no public transportation. They were afraid the city was going to shut down, and so everybody went. A lot of people left town, but also everyone went on different times. Like people go to work at 6. Or people go to work at 8 a.m. And it was magical LA where you could go anywhere at any time. And so I'm looking forward to it again. And all of the on all of the street lamps in LA, they have those posters.
Yeah,
Which now we'll talk about the blades that talk about those were originated in 1984 for the Olympics because it was to bring the entire city together. So it was all Olympic branding. From downtown to the ocean.
See, this is LA's biggest challenge, isn't it? Cohering the city. And I think that, when they redid LAX, they put those big sort of lighted pillars to give this sense of cohesion because it still doesn't really feel like an airport. It just feels like a sort of blob of where you can catch a plane.
But 2028, which is 11 years away.
I was going to say it's only 11 years. You only have 11 years to live.
I am giving away my age, but part of me is I have something to live for now. I don't have children. I'm not married. I'm like, you know what? The 84 Olympics were magical for me. I want to hang on for 11 more years at least to be here for the 2028 Olympics. 44 years later.
That's what I said about Game of Thrones. I said I don't want to die before I find out what happens on Game of Thrones.
So I'm kind of excited, and it made money for the city in 1984. They made a deal
it was
where
the first time,
if there was a surplus, 60 went to the Olympics, 40 went to LA, and they used that money to create all these youth programs. So I don't know. I'm getgetting caught up in the nostalgia of '84 and my first summer here.
And they also used it as sort of proof of Reaganomics, didn't they? It was this whole idea of entrepreneurialism.
Right.
I mean,
because before it had been
neoliberalism.
Before the Olympics had been government run, and this was privately run by Peter
Uberoff,
who was very, very famous from that.
Trickle down.
All these deals and sponsorships.
You can Google, but we'll also put at worldofwonder.net/Radio Andy some of the pictures of the the temporary installations that went up that made the Olympics so special. And I also remember I went to a decathlon. Everyone, you know how you get tickets to the bowl and you're so excited? Everyone was like that about which Olympic event are you going to? And the opening ceremony, my cousins from the Valley were in the band that played, the opening ceremonies. It became a huge small town. And the closing ceremonies, I remember, was Lionel Richie. And I think 50 grand pianos came up through the floor for representing each of the states of the United States or something. And I'm wondering, 11 years, Lionel Richie looks better than me. I think he'll be here in 11 years. I'm hoping Lionel Richie closes the ceremonies again.
I just saw him at the bowl a few nights ago at the Hollywood Bowl.
Was he great?
Just as spry as ever. Mariah Carey opened for him extraordinarily enough.
What?
Yes, it was an amazing show.
Are you sure you weren't hallucinating?
I really was there.
I saw the pictures.
Yes.
Anyway, Summer Olympics 2028. Okay. Be there. I'll see you there.
Okay.
I hope.
Moving on, number 6.
Number 6.
James.
Number 6, Will on TNT. Okay, you've probably seen the signs
I
around
have.
town.
Oh, it's the young Shakespeare.
It's William Shakespeare, but he's young and he's sexy and he's a rock star and he wears this hot leather doublet and he's got this wonderful blonde hair that looks like a Jose Bear blowout. And the whole conceit of the show is that Shakespeare and Elizabethan theater at the time was the punk rock of its day.
Totally.
Okay.
Actually,
it's
true.
Well, here we go.
You got to wait a couple minutes before you interject.
Tell me, Fenton, what you think. Anyway, the shows, were violent and they were anarchic and they were about social change, and that the theater goers of the time weren't these highbrow people. They were these louts and these sort of rabble-rousers, and they were all drinking, and it was like being at a punk rock show. And the very notion of these plays were upsetting the hierarchy and the people in power and things like that. And to that end, you see all these posters around town that are wheat-pasted punk rock shows. When Will takes off to London, they're playing London Calling by The Clash. He goes into a tavern and everybody's singing, "Oh, It's Such a Perfect Day" by Lou Reed. At one point, they're running from the bad guys and they play Lust for Life by Iggy Pop.
It's kind of a Baz Luhrmann approach to history, if you will.
It is. Well, in fact, the writer of the show wrote Romeo and Juliet.
Sorry to interrupt.
I noticed you don't get scolded the way I do.
I use arm gestures to try to. I am now coming in for a little comment, and now I'm going out.
Anyway, but that's as far as they take it. It's not a very deep premise. Pitchfork railed against the show, saying to reduce punk to weird-looking people doing vulgar things, and thus to find easy analogs for it throughout history, is to disregard the politicized roots of the movement, which was set in the recession. No. But it does make sense, because if you have someone like Malcolm McLaren, who was basically a huckster selling slogans on T-shirts,
yes,
he really did tap into something that was very real at the time.
For sure, but that doesn't elevate punk. I mean, punk was surely merely a marketing ploy. I mean, you could say that the rebellion of the theater in the Elizabethan age was far more significant than punk ever was. Punk was born to be sold. It was a sellout from the very beginning. So the idea that punk was greater than William Shakespeare, fuck them. Crazy
no, that's not basically what they're saying.
Sorry, I got it all wrong.
Shakespeare, Pitchfork goes on to say that Shakespeare certainly revolutionized literature, but now that the punk aesthetic has become synonymous with all forms of rebellion throughout history, we've forgotten that not every revolutionary is a punk, and that's why even a show as silly as Will has the power to chip away at the movement's fragile ideological fallacy.
Oh, please!
You read much smarter websites than I do. That's all
the
I'm
movement's fragile ideological fallacy.
I'm going to get really big picture from it, which is like, does the pop culture-ification of history, is that a new thing and a bad thing, or is that basically history's always been regurgitated
history's
and
basically a lie that always gets written by the people who win it?
Yes,
and I think anything that makes you engage with history, exactly, because it's all an interpretation to begin with. There's no such thing as pure.
But what the point here is that there are things like when Sofia Coppola did the same thing with Marie Antoinette,
right?
When Harlots is doing the same thing over on Amazon, and it takes away from the historical significance of what punk meant to just apply it willy-nilly to anybody who was being like wild and vulgar. It dilutes.
Oh wait, Blake.
But I mean, like, I didn't ever like Romeo and Juliet, but I loved the movie because of the music and
if it gives you an
visuals.
Access into it, then definitely,
but their point seems to be that punk is being endangered by Shakespeare's legacy. Totally upside down. Call Kellyanne Conway.
Well, anyway, the other main conceit of the show is that Shakespeare is as he's speaking in conversation, all his great lines and pithy one-liners and stuff seem to just sort of trip off his tongue as he's talking.
James, it's like you.
It's like he runs home and writes it down and everything. The dialogue isn't very Shakespearean. It's more like they just threw in some these and thous.
Thank God. Thank God.
And I'm sure that
How
was
dare thou.
For people like me.
Exactly. I hated it.
Oh,
I did.
That's so funny. It sounded like you loved it.
No.
Oh, that's
I
crazy.
couldn't even make it through the first episode. I was so irritated with it.
Do you think it's going to last? Oh, look, we got a visitor.
Hi, CEO of Bobbyland .org.
.org.
Bless you.
I don't think I'm going to keep watching it. I don't think it's going to last.
Right.
It's been getting horrible reviews. The art direction is really beautiful. The costumes are really fabulous. But the story just isn't there. Also, Jamie Campbell Bower is in it. I don't know if you know Jamie. He's a young British up-and-coming star.
Is he hot?
He's hot. And he plays Christopher Marlowe, who is
Shakespeare's nemesis.
His big nemesis. And he plays him as this sort of fey gay occultist.
Right.
And it's really he's the only reason to watch the show.
Blake's giving us the big old...
Sorry.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
You can catch Will Mondays, 8, 7 Central, TNT, or at tntdrama.com anytime. Okay, number 5.
Number 5.
La Croix, Sweety. I am talking about the sparkling water. Have you seen the can?
Oh, it's actually LaCroix. They want you to pronounce it that way.
Do they?
Well,
yes, I did. I went on the website.
I went on Yes.
Yeah.
Snap. I went on the website too. It says, how is La Croix pronounced? LaCroix rhymes with enjoy. I am sorry. I am not calling it LaCroix.
LaCroix,
it's LaCroix, sweetie. That's how it works. I mean,
it's like Target for Target.
They need to get with it and change it up. I mean, I sort of vaguely noticed La Croix sparkling water But it's become a thing.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, it is everywhere.
Amongst millennials, it's this sort of hip item.
I saw Rushi drinking it, and that's when I knew it was hot.
Oh, right. Well, my fridge at home, Billy, my husband, has filled it. It is La Croix. La
Croix.
And La Croix comes in interesting flavors. But I think sort of part of the mystery of it is, I mean, look, sparkling water, that is not a new thing. I mean, we had seltzer water. Actually, by the way, what is seltzer water? Because I came to America and we never had seltzer water in England. It's just sparkling water.
Yeah.
And
carbonated.
Club
Cone
soda.
glass.
What's the difference between seltzer
There is
water?
no difference. There is not.
I think one might. Yeah, there's no difference.
So that was fizzy water in the 60s and 70s, and then Perrier and Boudoir
was naturally sourced.
And
Perrier was
came
naturally
along,
sourced.
right?
The others might be like you make it.
Yeah.
But now it's all about La Croix. And
well, they all drink Schweppes in the New York Radio Andy office.
Oh, that's right.
Because
Sandra
Sandy is
Bernard.
always like working hard for a Schweppes.
And they won't send her any
Angership.
Schweppes.
No. She should start working
Do you
on
think we'll
La
get
Croix.
Will we get some La Croix?
Sandy
La
Bernhardt
Croix
is fashion. She should get La Croix.
But the thing about the can is it's got this. I mean, it's funny you mentioned John Jurdy and the whole look for the Olympics 2028.
Yeah.
Because the La Croix can is sort of instantly nostalgic for sort of 90s. It's that swooshy. Remember there was that big sort of internet sensation about the polystyrene cup? It was called the Jazz Cup, right?
Yes.
It
was like a Dixie. Dixie had like the cup.
Sweetheart Plastics
You would
made
yes,
it.
Sweetheart.
I'll show you the
But you would just get the cup at the grocery store. You wouldn't even think about it. It's what you would buy.
You've
and like
seen it.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen
Sure,
it.
Oh, we had those in
Everyone's
the
seen it.
80s. Yeah.
But it became something of an iconic.
that's exactly what I was thinking about for LaCroix.
It is,
because
right?
It takes you
to
back.
me that's tacky. But now
Right.
tacky is retro, so it's cool.
It's that sort of anodyne, corporate, don't want to offend anyone. What shall I do? Swoosh, sweetie. Swoosh.
Approved. The committee
Right.
approved it.
Right, you know that. Yes.
It's the equivalent of the Greek diner cups. Remember in
Yes,
New York?
with a little.
Yes.
Yes,
it is. It
Where it just
really is.
when you see
They're
it,
just
it
there.
immediately takes you back to a certain place.
And LaCroix, I mean, it's just tap water that's been carbonated.
Totally. Do you have? And you know what? Carbonated water is not good for you. As much as you're supposed to drink
Oh,
water.
they say it's lovely. Oh, why?
No,
what's bad?
No,
Oh.
it doesn't-
eats away at your teeth.
Yes, it's sort of the same way that soda kind of has that same quality, and soda has sugar and stuff too. But if you to hydrate, you really need to drink water.
Because it's salt. It's basically got a lot of salt in it, doesn't it?
okay.
I just know.
Well,
saying
the
that
alkaline.
I know when I'm a Pellegrino guy, and I drink
right.
that, and I know that like after I drink a bunch, I'm still dry.
I will just say, because I'm getting the wrap it up sign, that so trendy has it become that there was recently an art opening by the street artist, I don't know how you say this, FNNCH, and he painted exactly like the Warhol soup cans, same size, 9 LaCroix cans. And the art opening was a sensation. It sold out. You had to buy tickets to go to the opening. Isn't this fantastic? And
We're all a little bored, aren't we?
Anyway, I'll just tell you that the name La comes from the city of La Crosse,
Okay.
and Croix refers to the St. Croix River that flows between Wisconsin and Minnesota, which is where it's from. It started in 1981. Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, we got to take a quick break. Here's the question.
Okay.
What is the most popular flavor of LaCroix, according to a staffer at Whole Foods in hipster heaven, Williamsburg?
All
What
right.
is the most popular flavor? This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report, our countdown of the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow.
This week, I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, here with Tom Campbell, our creative director. Yeah, what is it? Is this something?
Chief Creative Director. This
Chief
sounds
Creative
like I make
Director,
more money that way.
CCD.
Super Chief Creative Director. Super Mega Chief Creative Director.
Literary legend, editor of the Wow Report, James St. James, and our millennial producer, Blake.
Hi, guys.
Blake.
So the question was, we're talking about La Croix, in fact, La Croix. It just doesn't sound right to say La Croix.
No, it sounds
Sparkling
vulgar.
water.
St. Croix,
And
Virgin Islands.
Comes in amazing flavors. And so the question was, according to Whole Foods in Williamsburg, what is the most popular flavor of La Croix?
Well, I'm going to say it's probably like Lifesavers, and it's probably like cherry.
I'm
Oh,
gonna say
that's
it's.
snooty.
I'm gonna say it's coconut.
Oh, maybe it's like a lemon or a lime or orange.
I'm going to say, because I don't know, but I think it's grapefruit.
Oh, ew.
It's the grapefruit tinged pamplemousse.
Yes.
What?
Pimple mousse.
It's not
Pample.
called grapefruit. It's called
Pamplemousse.
Pamplemousse.
Like the band, Pamplemousse.
Pamplemousse is the French word for grapefruit, and on their website they say it's a show of humor from this all-American brand.
Wait, so it's called grapefruit pamplemousse?
It's
so it's
called
grapefruit,
pamplemousse. Pamplemousse. It's the word for grapefruit.
Yeah, but
It's La Croix, sweetie, so it's pamplemousse.
Okay.
Pamplemousse. I love that word.
I
It's just
know.
so sort of. It's like a weighted blanket. Pamplemousse. Number 4, Tom.
Number 4.
There is an article that broke in the Hollywood Reporter, of all places. They actually do some really good journalism in the Hollywood Reporter, and it's making the rounds.
It went viral, super ultra viral.
Thank you. And it's about Angelyne. Now, just in case
Angelina Jolie.
you don't know who Angelyne is, she is an icon of the LA landscape since the 80s. There's still mystery around her. They've broken the mystery. They've revealed her. And I don't want to necessarily reveal everything about her. Obviously, the article's out. But there were the billboards. When I first moved to LA in the 80s, there were billboards everywhere with this pink Corvette, this hot, huge, boobed, blonde with sunglasses sort of sprawled on the car. And it was Angelyne. And who was Angelyne? She was famous for nothing. She was famous for herself. And
Prescient.
Yes.
Prescient.
And they say it's before Kim Kardashian, before Paris Hilton, but it's true. And the thing about Angelyne is she still drives a pink Corvette. She is often parked literally 10 feet in that direction.
Right outside.
She will sell you T-shirts and merch from her trunk. And if you run into her, Theron, who works here at World of Wonder for 20 years, who has the best personality and the most exciting, interesting, eclectic relationships, is friends with Angelyne. And one time I saw them, and I'm like, "Hi, oh my God, I'm going to meet Angelyne." And you leave like $200 poorer because you
to
buy
meet it
everything.
is to buy a T-shirt.
The first time I met her, I ran up to her and fangirled out on her.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh my God, Angelyne, I love you so much. Wait, can I get a picture?" And she said $10.
Yes.
You
Good
have to-
for her.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
She said
Monetizing the
She
brand.
said
Right.
you have to join the fan club first,
Yeah.
and then you can pose for a picture.
All the YouTubers now have meet and greets. What's the difference? She
No
comes
diff-
to you.
Exactly.
And to this day, when people
She's a
move,
pioneer.
when people move to LA, young people are like, "Oh my God, I just saw the Angelyne pink Corvette," which I think there's like maybe
There's
it's
several,
maybe it's
yeah.
Uber. Maybe she's like there should be an Angelyne Uber with just pink Corvettes driving around LA.
A few months ago, it was parked outside with a for sale sign on.
Yes.
And I was like, "Oh my God, no! This is the end of an era." But she's just buying a new one.
So she-
No. She doesn't buy them. They are given to her. With
Again, she created the celebrity culture of like, give me something, I'll drive it,
right,
and it'll
and
be
she
famous.
gives the credit to the people who did it. Bless her heart, she is sort of having some hard times right now, and it's a little upsetting, this article, because she has spent her whole life building this mystique.
Right, the artistry is the mystery, right?
Yeah.
Like Banksy.
And
It's
when
like,
you ask her, she's very oblique about her past.
Yes.
She gives you these non-answers that maybe she came from another place, blah, blah, blah. And we come to find out that she's actually, what is her name?
Renee Goldberg.
Renee Goldberg from the Valley.
But she has a compelling. I mean, I don't want to tell her age and stuff. It's all out there. But who cares? Leave it alone.
No. Yeah, and
But her parents were Holocaust survivors. She was born in Israel. She came here. She grew up sort of in Hollywood. Her parents, I think, divorced. She moved to the Valley. Her mother died. Her mother died when she was 14. And so she was married. They have an article about
the husband from Beverly Hills.
Yes, and she was gorgeous. She was a very beautiful, stylish young woman, a redhead.
Yeah.
And they were married and divorced in the early 70s. He kept these pictures of her because she never wanted them, and she still doesn't want them. She has removed herself from that past, and I couldn't help but think it's like this Finding Richard Simmons thing.
Yeah.
Where they're both kind of the same era, Richard Simmons and Angelyne, slightly different celebrity, but huge celebrities, and they want you to back the fuck off.
Yeah, there's some trauma there, obviously, and she is trying to distance herself from her past, and she wants to keep the mystery alive.
But also, it's celebrity. We're living in an age of celebrity, and the whole concept of celebrity is you invent yourself.
Right.
You're not.
But there was some glee in this article that I didn't like. Like, we figured it out.
Yeah,
we went
and
back
I can't
and we
help but
found
think it was probably the worst day of Angelyne's life yesterday, and that she's probably been sitting at home just furious and crying and upset about it. There's also something you feel a little sorry for Angelyne, that she has this wonderful, amazing backstory with the parents who were Holocaust survivors, and it's something that really could have added dimension to her or depth to her or something
Maybe.
like that. But she's chosen to freeze it out of her narrative.
It's her story, right?
I guess, but it makes me think that maybe there's some like self-loathing in there and I just the whole thing I walked away from it feeling very like
But also it does add dimension to her. I mean, I think I haven't read the article, but just knowing that there is this other story, it actually, in one sense, deflates, but in the other sense, elevates her artistry.
Because the thing I always wondered, and you heard all these rumors, and they'll probably remain rumors, which is great, is who paid for those billboards? Who pays for that?
There was a
car?
sugar daddy.
Yeah,
There
all
was
that kind of stuff.
But
But she is iconic. If this does nothing else but to introduce you to Angelyne, it makes you Google her or go to theworldofwonder.net/radio Andy to find out more about her. Do. And if you see Angelyne and you're in LA,
buy something.
Buy a damn T-shirt.
Spring $10. Right? $10, $20.
Self-invented
She's
celebrity.
a public institution. I hope she's part of the Olympics.
Yes. She's like our Statue of Liberty.
Oh, that would be nice if she opened the Olympics and was carrying the torch, running the torch. And
Good idea.
James, number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3 was another show that I watched this week. Actually, I watched it at 6 a.m. this morning.
You are dedicated to your fandom.
I am. It's The Sinner, an 8-episode limited series on USA starring Jessica Biel. It bills itself not as a whodunit, but a why-done-it.
Is that Generation Y done it?
It stars Jessica Biel. She plays a distracted housewife. She's sort of like Catherine Deneuve in Repulsion. She's just sort of wandering through the days, and she's really not connecting with anything. Her husband is Christopher Abbott, who was on Girls. He was Marnie's junkie boyfriend, the really hot one.
Yeah.
Yes, he's really wonderful. He's the husband. In one of the very first scenes, she's like brushing her teeth, and she's all upset. And he walks in and he says, "It's Friday night. I want to have sex." It's like time for their Friday night sex. And he's just in a pair of underwear and he's got a heart on. And he takes, listen, I'm telling you, he takes her hand and he places it on his heart on. I have never seen that on television, on cable, anywhere. It just felt like we've broken a wall.
Yeah.
Like it felt very transgressive and subversive for this show to be doing that right off the bat.
They never did that on Monk on USA.
No, so they have sex, and then the next day they pack up the kids and they go to the beach, and she goes for a swim out in the water, and she tries to drown herself, and it doesn't work, and she comes up for air, and then she comes up on shore, and she's peeling an apple for her daughter. And she's cutting it, and there's some teenagers on the blanket next to her. And the teenagers are making out, and they're playing the rock and roll music. And the girl says, "Oh, why don't you play the song that Tommy made?" And she plays the song, and Jessica looks very triggered, and she's really upset, and she takes the knife, and she goes over, and she just starts stabbing him wildly. I mean, it's
the teenager.
The teenage boy, just stabbing him, and it's really graphic, and there's blood everywhere, and you see, it's not like Psycho. You don't see, it's not gently, inferred.
Right.
This is like you see the knife going in and in and in and in and in. It's just terrible. It's. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Good morning, James. 6 a.m. He's watching this. Okay.
I was really I was triggered.
How was it for you?
But then they take her away, and the rest of the series then is unpacking why she did it, why she just out of the blue.
Any ideas?
Well, we have no idea. No.
Episode 1.
Nothing.
Yeah, Bill Pullman is the detective. There's a bunch of you sort of think that there's like some trauma. You start to see flashbacks. You start to see flashbacks of wallpaper that she's looking at. And do you remember the 1892 short story, The Yellow Wallpaper?
Oh, very well.
You do?
No.
Oh, it was it was by Charlotte Perkins Gilmore, and it was legendary at the time. And it was about a woman staring at her wallpaper, and she goes mad. She goes mad looking at the intricate pattern of the wallpaper. And it was basically about women's oppression, and it was about how it sort of was a predecessor for the women's movement and everything like that, about how we've got to start the world. But anyway, there's just a feeling of that going on.
It's intriguing you.
It is, yeah. And I'm there. In Jessica Biel, of course, from Seventh Heaven. We haven't really, she's Mrs. Justin Timberlake.
Yes. So there's lots of flashbacks, so we don't just have to see her in prison wear. She's actually wearing fashion and things. And flashbacks.
And then you sort of realize that the husband is a little weird too. There's some things that are happening.
Sounds
It debuted last night, and I watched it this morning.
You can watch The Sinner, starring Jessica Biel and Bill Pullman, Wednesdays, 10, 9 Central on USA.
The Sinner.
Number 2.
We seem to have fallen into slightly sort of minor key in this part, right? I mean, it's a little melancholy.
Oh.
And my number 2 is not necessarily going to lift that mood. It's an amazing interview this week in the New York Times with Liz Smith, who may not be known to many listeners, but she was this legendary, pioneering gossip columnist.
Yeah,
Yes.
and for 50 plus
Yeah,
years,
absolutely.
But a respectable one, right?
Yes, and she was the friend to the celebrities.
Yes.
She never wrote a bad story. She was always on the celebrities' side. She sort of like invented that like sort of puff piece journalism.
Yes.
for-
And she had this great kind of broad kind of way that she wrote.
But she was
right?
from Texas, right?
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
studied journalism, actually, in Fort Worth and came to New York.
with
took
Walter Winchell.
$50 in her pocket, a 20-hour train journey, arrives in Penn Station. She knew how to hail a cab because she'd seen it in movies. And friends told her how to get a free meal at the automat by eating crackers and ketchup. I mean, it's one of those true sort of
And
come
she-
to New York with a dream and make it.
And by God, she scaled that ladder of success and went to the dizzying heights of New York, and Hollywood
The most
society.
powerful people are her
Yeah.
friends.
She was at one time the highest paid print journalist in America.
Well, but here we go. In
Right.
the New York Times, damn them. It was a nasty hit piece is what
Do you
it
think
was.
it was? I mean,
it was.
She's 94.
It starts off and
Yeah.
it makes you think. They say she's 94. She's recovering from a stroke and she doesn't have a column anymore. And she's a
True.
nobody now. And it's sort of like to say that this 94-year-old woman who has lived this life and given so much to the industry is not relevant anymore because she doesn't have a column, which is basically what they were saying. They did this whole bit about how when they fired her, she begged them to stay and she said, "You don't even have to pay me. I'll just keep doing it." And it's like we didn't need to know that.
Right. But it makes sense at some point. I would imagine that if that's her lifeblood, and just let me get up and let me paint, let me have an outlet.
But
what does
Yeah.
she say for herself?
She's actually I thought she was very wise and sort of knowing. I mean, I found the piece very poignant. She says that, I don't think my name could sell anything now. And she said, this was the thing that really, she said, it's just a diminution of diminution.
Diminution.
Thank
yeah.
you. It is just the
Diminution.
of your name. It's a natural thing to happen. I mean, Carrie Fisher, used to say, "Fame is just oblivion, biding its time."
Yeah.
And
Unless
she
you're Star
says,
Wars.
she said that the thing, "I am in search of Liz Smith after a lifetime of fun and excitement, and being in the thick of it. I am just shocked every day that I'm not the same person." I think that happens to all old people. They're searching for a glimmer of what they call their real self.
I
It
think
is-
it's moving. I'm sorry.
I think so.
Well, it's a very powerful meditation on
It's
the passing of fame,
Exactly.
the passing of power, and how you can be easily discarded after being on top of the world. And I wish that it would have been more of in praise of what she did as
Yeah.
opposed to where she is now and the fact that she feels left out of the world. And the New York Times sort of ganged up on her and
I
said
don't know if
she's
they ganged up. I mean, she's 94. She's in relatively good health. I mean, she had a stroke. She doesn't have a column, it's true. And I think she has perspective on her. And then it was interesting, Jeanette Walls, who used to be another gossip columnist, wrote a book called Dish, How Gossip Became the News and the News Became Just Another Show. I mean, that title alone actually speaks volumes about what's happened, because her sort of peaky point was when she covered the Trump divorce with Ivana.
And Marla
And
Maples.
this
best
was
sex I ever
when
had.
Drexel Burnham went bankrupt, when the Berlin Wall came down, Nelson Mandela was freed, and for 3 months, Liz Smith wrote about the Trumps.
Yeah.
And she says, her mistake was taking sides, and that she took Ivana's side. Interestingly, I thought she said that because Trump is now president and she backed the wrong horse, as it were. But no, she just felt it was, as a journalist, a mistake to take a side, which I thought was
I think
really
we all,
interesting.
as people live longer and longer, if we're lucky, I think we
Yeah.
all face a version of this, which is when do you stop being in the
Relevant.
center,
Madonna
irrelevant,
faces it.
and what do you do with and if you're still alive? How do you still make sense of it? So anyway,
Especially if being at the center of attention was your
your
living,
Yes.
was your
Yeah.
daily bread. I think it's really tough.
Well, I really, it made me very sad to read it, and I felt sorry for her.
maybe this article will spark an idea in someone to hire Liz Smith to do something.
And I don't think she wants looks pretty. I think she's in a very philosophical Zen place.
No. But I felt like that there were some just little jabs that the New York Times did that were unnecessary, and it should have been a little more. If she is in this wonderful Zen place, then celebrate that. But
I think that's the cultural struggle between gossip and news, and the New York Times resents the fact that gossip has become the news, and the news has become the background. I mean, look where we are with the president we have. Like, you can't argue with that.
Well,
and I think
I never
something
would
like the New York Times resents that.
I never would have questioned Liz Smith's relevancy if they hadn't brought it up.
I see.
You know, and I think they just sort of inserted that idea into the story, and it put that in the minds of lots of people that she's no longer relevant. And I would have thought she's a legend.
You can read the full report on actually, we're going to post it on the Wow Report, the New York Times interview. So we got to take a quick break, and when we come back, the number one thing this week that made us go wow, and of course, Resistor of the Week.
Yes.
This is Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
Come on back.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM. We've been counting down the top 10 things that make us go
wow.
And we've reached that enviable number one slot. What is it, James?
Number one.
Our number one is this weekend. Very exciting. In LA, if you happen to be in town, there's going to be a 24-hour pop-up porn theater.
Yay!
Pop-up porn theater.
Pop-up porn theater.
With popcorn.
with something.
With some butter.
It's
Boy
supposed
butter.
to, stop it! Poor millennials never knew the joy of trolling a porn theater at 2:00 in the morning
could you
in
take us
Times
there?
Square.
Take us there, James.
This
Come
is
on.
before VCRs.
Before VCRs.
This is before the internet.
No, even in the 80s, they were still there in New York, if you remember.
Yes. In the old Times
Absolutely,
Square.
but it was a gathering place.
It was a place for fellowship.
Standing often fellowship.
The smell, the sights that you would see, the sounds of the porn as you're on your seat,
and seeing it big, right? Like
seeing it big,
on
and in
a
a community
huge
where
screen,
everybody's having fun together.
Yes, because porn is such an isolated internet experience.
It
now,
is,
right?
and you used to have to go
Get out of the house.
get out of the house
public.
and go mingle with the
and
unwashed.
risk arrest sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? I would go when I was in New York. I would go to the Adonis.
I love the
on
Adonis.
8th.
Black Cat. Remember that?
I only knew one theater, and I would go there, the Adonis, and spend an afternoon. In LA, it's Studs Theater still exists, but it was the Pussycat or
Right.
Tomcat Theater.
Right.
And they're usually disgusting, and the seats are usually
Seats
broken.
are sort of lumpy and old.
And sticky.
Yes,
And the
I've
porn
seen-
sometimes wasn't so. Although it could have been, it was really good at one point because it was the only place you could find it.
Yeah. Well, so a group
Anyway,
called.
we're digressing into the past.
Yeah.
Well,
This weekend,
But they're
weekend.
called- the group is called Dirty Looks, right?
The group is called Dirty Looks, and they're going to be showing vintage 70s porn.
Pre-VHS porn.
Pre-VHS porn with Casey Donovan, Jack Wrangler, some of the old-time
It's gay porn,
stars.
right? Oh, yes,
yeah.
yes.
And they're gonna have some like lesploitation that they're gonna throw in.
Okay.
There's gonna they're gonna do like some artsy films as well. But they just want people to experience watching porn together in a room.
Starts at midnight Friday and goes to midnight Saturday.
Yeah.
And you can come and go.
We have the information on our website, but it's just something that if you're young and you've only grown up with internet porn, that it's something to see what
Get on a plane and come to LA.
yeah.
It's called Session Continua. See, I love the way it's like it's sort of gentrified now. Now it's sort of an art happening.
Yes.
Session Continua. La Croix will be served, right?
Yeah.
And we'll all wear heavy blankets.
Well, I don't know if people are actually going to be masturbating.
sure.
in
Well,
the
if I
open.
go, they will be.
yeah.
Are you going to drop in?
Blake, will you go?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
What time do you think you'll go?
All 24 hours.
I'm going at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. was always the magic hour.
I actually picked out all the porn, so
I'm thinking I'll go to the gym. I'll wake up early. I'll go to the gym. I'll do a hike, and then I'll drop by the porn theater.
Grab a croissant.
It'll be like 1983 all over again.
Croissant and sunglasses. Like, hello, darling.
For those of you flying in, it's 3301 Beverly Boulevard. Session Continua, son of Semile. I mean, it's just so exotic sounding. It doesn't sound like you're going to a porn theater at all. It sounds
Vintage porn.
sounds
this
like a
Saturday.
Philip Glass opera or something. As long.
I went to the Tomcat Theater one time with Chris Crocker and Brandy C from Rock of
Oh,
Love.
I'm sure Chris Crocker was a star there, wasn't
How
he?
was
Did they
that?
go bananas?
Well, it was really late, and I remember we snuck in like a flask, so we just kept going to the bathroom and like drinking, and then we'd go back and like walk around. I don't think we really we were just there just to like
Didn't
experience.
It's
it.
not what they used to be, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Not what they used to be.
yeah, I've gone in a club kid outfit a few times in the 80s.
Are you
How
going to
did,
go?
how did that work out for
It
you?
did not work out.
Like slice of pizza in a porn theater?
Yeah.
Dumb it down for the theater. Yep.
Okay, well, let's sort of get our act together and talk about Resistor of the Week. Because
Very-
I feel
this is
we've
very,
done a
very-
little gutter trolling.
very important
Yes,
subject.
Resistor of the Week. Who is our Resistor of the Week?
Well,
Actually, porn again. More porn.
We aren't getting that far out of the
I thought you were
gutter
doing
here.
ironic setup.
Trying to elevate things.
Not at all. Actually, our resistor of the week is Blake Mitchell, the gay porn star, who is a lovely twink, good friend of
Gorgeous.
WoW.
I love it. He's like Clark Kent. He wears glasses.
Yeah, he's
Very
really,
nerdy.
really adorable and dorky
Yeah.
and
Very
fun, very handsome. He was on his Instagram the other day and noticed that Anthony Scaramucci was following
the
him.
mooch. Remember the mooch?
He-
God, I miss the
know.
mooch.
And he just wrote, "Wait, what? Like, how strange is this that like Anthony
Right.
Scaramucci in the Trump administration is following me?" Well, it turns out that Anthony Scaramucci was following a lot of people. That he followed like 110,000 people. But if we were going through his list, and it's Ross Matthews, it's RuPaul's Drag Race, it's Michelle Visage, it's like all these like gay, celebrities that Anthony Scaramucci, and we're thinking to ourselves, either does Anthony Scaramucci was he maybe gay?
Right.
Did he have like gay proclivities? Or
The way you say that.
is he maybe
Maybe he'll come to the Dirty Looks thing on Friday.
maybe yeah?
He'll
but
definitely
maybe-
be a drag con.
But maybe Anthony Scaramucci was on our side all along, and he was a mole, and
Maybe that's why he was fired. They realized of his connections with
It
World
could
of
have
Wonder.
been.
It was like, you gotta go.
So Anthony Scaramucci might just be our resistor who had been planted by P Flag or GLAD in the White House to work on our behalf, and now he's gone, and it's very
Right.
sad.
I'm sure this is not the last we've heard of the mooch.
Just a quick editor's note. I think it was his Twitter and not his Instagram.
Whoops.
Oh, an editor's note. I like that. We're really fact checking.
Twitter, Instagram, what have
You're
you,
right.
things like that.
Social media and things
Social
of that
media.
nature.
Okay, so that's all we have time for today.
Oh, shucks.
In the meantime, throw on your high heels and meet us at the first ever RuPaul's Drag Con, New York City, September 9th and 10th at the Javits Center. For more information and to see what queens and celebrities are scheduled to appear, go to RuPaul'sDragCon.com. Hurry! VIP tickets for RuPaul's Drag Con NYC are already sold out, but you can still get weekend passes, single day tickets, and tickets to both the 9 from 9 party on Friday, September 8th, and the Battle on the Runway party on Saturday, September 9th, all at RuPaul'sDragCon.com. See you there. Thanks for tuning in. You can listen to us on any time on the Sirius app.
Yes.
And or you can watch on the WoW Report,
On YouTube.
worldofwonder.net, or YouTube,
Yeah.
WoW Presents. Hey, look, see you same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.